guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to give you some of my favorite reads for the month of Halloween, or the month of October, and the Halloween time, fall time. These are mostly going to be like either creepy reads or paranormal type of reads that I just enjoy reading a lot during the month of October. So yeah, let's get right into it. First is a book that I actually have not finished yet. I started reading this probably like 5 years ago, and just for some reason I really wasn't into it, but I was enjoying it. It was just, I think I just wasn't in the mood. Like, there was nothing inherently wrong with the book itself, and that is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. And this is about two vampires. I think there's like a little girl involved somehow, and that's all I know, that's all I remember. You could probably read any Anne Rice book during this time. She writes some pretty creepy, like taboo type stuff sometimes, but yeah, so there's this one. I definitely want to read it again, so maybe I'll read it for next Halloween, because I don't think I'll have time this month. I love anything to do with witches and paranormal and things like that. Like, I wish I was a witch. I wish I had magic abilities, but I don't, unfortunately. So I get my fix through books. A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, and this whole All Souls trilogy is pretty good. The first book I think is probably my favorite, and it's about this professor, this female professor, who is doing some research in a library on an alchemical manuscript, and weird things start to happen, like different creatures start to approach her and things like that. So it's about her coming into her magic and falling in love and all of that good stuff. There's a vampire in here. There are multiple vampires in here, and when I read this one, I was already sort of past my vampire phase, but the fact that it has witches and witchcraft in it really sold me, and I did enjoy it a lot, so I recommend this one. I recommend the trilogy. My favorite, I was gonna say one of my favorites. No, my favorite series of all time is Harry Potter. I don't think that'll come as a surprise to any of you guys. I'm sure I've said it before, and a lot of you know me, so you know that I'm obsessed. But continuing on with the witchcraft theme, I know a lot of people enjoy reading Harry Potter, probably like during the winter, but for some reason I love to read, at least start. I like to start the series. Galileo, bebe. I like to start the series in October, and I think for me, at least with this book, it's because mostly of that Halloween chapter when they're like, troll in the dungeon. I love that scene. I love that chapter, and it's so, and I think obviously I love it, adore it. It's perfect in the book, but I love seeing it come to life too in the movie, like all the floating candles and the pumpkins, and it was just so perfect and so like Halloween. It's like the perfect Halloween, until the troll came. And even that would be interesting, So yeah, for me, I just love to read that during Halloween, and that's why I love to at least read this one, maybe the first like 2 or 3 during October, and then I'll read the rest during winter. I think there was another witchcraft one that I had. Maybe not. No, there was definitely, Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. This is one that I read recently, last month, and it's about this family of Latinx brujas who live in New York, and it's about the family and their powers, and our main protagonist does not like her powers, does not want them, so she tries to get rid of them, accidentally gets rid of her family. So it's about all of that and how she gets them back, and it's a really cute, fun, quick read. I do wish that it had been a lot more, it would have gone a lot more in depth and would have been a lot longer. I'm just starting to get away from like the simple sort of quick reads, but that's just me. I did still enjoy it, and I do still recommend it, and I am definitely going to continue on with the series. And yeah, look at this cover. It's absolutely beautiful, and if that doesn't scream like fall Halloween time to you, then I don't know what does. Another one, sticking with the paranormal sort of theme, is The Raven Boys, and this is actually the only book that I've read in the Raven cycle. I know, I'm sorry. This is by Maggie Stiefvater, and this one has clairvoyance, and it has ghosts, and it has dead kings and myths and things like that. So this is going to be great for those of you who, like me, enjoy that type of fantasy and enjoy mythological creatures and witchcraft and things like that. So this one was very good, and I really enjoyed it. I do want to reread it though before I go on to the next book, because I feel like I rushed myself the first time that I read it, and so I want to give myself time to really be able to immerse myself in the story, and then go on to the other books from there. So I'll probably reread this one before I continue on with the cycle, but I really enjoyed it, and I hear nothing but amazing things about it, so I recommend this one as well. One of my favorite creepy reads is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This is about an investigative journalist who is asked to stop an investigation into this very mysterious, very secretive movie director. I think he's sued for for defamation or something like that by the director's lawyers and things like that, and so he does give it up, but it's still in the back of his mind, and he still has all of his papers that he had when he was doing the investigation and everything. And so the book starts off with the director's daughter dying and being found dead, and something sort of doesn't sit well with the investigative journalist, so he starts to look into it, and he comes across a lot of people who have been affected in one way or another by the daughter or by the director, and it's about him trying to figure out what happened to her and what the heck is going on with this director and what his life is like, because no one seems to know anything concrete. And it's just really creepy, it's incredibly immersive, and it's very interactive, which I think that sort of made it for me, is how interactive it is. Like, it has all of these, let me show you, it has online articles, and you see case files and things like that, and so it made it it allowed me to get more immersed into the story, because I felt like I wasn't just reading the book, I almost felt like I was going through the investigation myself, and I was the one also investigating it. So it's very immersive and very interactive, and there were times when I was legitimately creeped out that my cat would make a noise or someone would knock on the door, and I would scream the heck. I probably wouldn't scream, but I would gasp and jump about a mile, because I'm just I'm a scared cat. But this was really, really good. Then we have The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson, and this is non-fiction, but he writes non-fiction like fiction, so it doesn't feel like non-fiction. It is really, I love this book, and I love his writing, and I love his ability to tell you history and make it very interesting and bring you into the story and make it seem like you're just reading another fiction novel, and I really enjoyed that. So this one, he won National Book Award finalist. So there you go. This one is about the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. So that's technically the White City. The way that it was built was all of the buildings were white, and it was so it looked very striking, and they referred to it as the White City. And so the devil is this serial killer named H.H. Holmes, who went to Chicago, built a hotel, would advertise it as a place that people could stay when they would come to see the Chicago World's Fair, and then he would kill them and they would never be heard from again. And I think that to this day, they don't know exactly how many people he killed, but he was creepy, and he was like a mastermind, and he was a con artist, and he's like that old ultimate scary guy that you don't realize it until too late that you were just conned, or that this guy is a fucking weirdo, because he was so charming, and so you wouldn't be guarded around him. Women would flirt with him because he was handsome and he was the doctor, so Dr. H.H. Holmes, all this nonsense. And so he would get out of paying anything, women would just stay at the hotel and feel like they would be totally safe, and then they would be killed and they would never be heard from again. And I find the story incredibly fascinating. I'm weird and I enjoy, and I'm weird and I'm like macabre, and I love to know about stuff like that and serial killers and all that nonsense. And plus, I went to school for event management, so we studied World's Fairs and we studied the Chicago World's Fair. So I already knew about that going in, and I had heard about H.H. Holmes just in passing. And so when I found out that that's what this book was about, I was like, oh, I gotta read it, and I really enjoyed it. But it is it's disturbing, the things that this guy does, but this is a great read just anytime, but I think it would be even more awesome during the month of October. Next we have a classic, which is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I read this back in high school, and I really enjoyed it, but I do want to reread it again because I just love the feeling that it evokes, like this very gothic, dark feeling. And so this is about Dr. Frankenstein, who is able to who steals body parts and creates a being who comes alive, and he is Frankenstein's monster. And it was very good, and it's a pretty short read actually. So this is awesome. This is a classic. I feel like this is going to be in a lot of people's lists. Another one that will be in a lot of people's lists is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Probably anything by Gillian Flynn would be in a lot of people's lists. Her books are very creepy and tense, and they're psychological thrillers. So this is about a woman who goes missing, and her husband becomes the prime suspect. So you are going through the investigation and everything, and the more you read, the more twisted it gets, and you find out things, but you don't know what's true and you don't know what's real, and it's really weird and creepy and tense, and I loved it, and I think that you guys will enjoy it if you haven't read this one yet, especially during this time. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't mention it, right? Then we have some quick reads that you could probably read in like 2 or 3 days. The first is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This is actually the only Neil Gaiman book that I've read, so if you have any other suggestions to what I should read next, please let me know down below. So Coraline is about this young girl who lives in this house with her parents, and there's this door in the house that everyone seems to sort of ignore, and one day she decides to go through this door and steps into like this alternate reality where everything the things that she had in her world are there, but they're really weird, really twisted, really creepy. This is very atmospheric, and it pulls you in. It's very imaginative and sort of fairy tale like sometimes. So, and it has a talking cat, so if you enjoy that, you might like this one as well. So yeah, it's creepy because the creatures that the people and how they are when she's in this like alternate universe or reality is really creepy and really weird. You could probably read this in like a day. So yeah, really good. I recommend it. And please let me know any more Neil Gaiman that I can read. And then we have 2 graphic novels. The first is Through the Woods, Stories by Emily Carroll, and this one is awesome. I really love it. It is it's really creepy, and the artwork is absolutely amazing, and it goes so well with the stories. I think it perfectly with the stories. I mean, they're very dark, and they're very dark, and they're very they're not, I guess, what you would typically see in a graphic novel, at least maybe not the ones that I read, but it definitely has like a dark, twisted feel to it, and I think that that's perfect for the stories. They're really creepy. You can read this in a day. I read this aloud with my boyfriend and was thoroughly creeped out, so I recommend this one. I'll probably read it again Halloween day or night, because everything's creepier at night. And then we have Anya's Ghost. This is another one that I read recently, and this one has like a monochromatic, like bluish gray tones, and I like the art in this one as well. I think it's it goes along well with the story. And this is about a girl, Anya, who falls into this hole, and at the bottom is this body that's been there for God knows how long, and she's able to communicate with the body's ghost. And when she's rescued from the hole, the ghost sort of doesn't leave her alone and continues to be her friend and live with her and everything. So it's about them two and Anya, and how she's able to deal with this new person, and how that friendship allows her to reflect back on her life and on the person that she's become. And it goes from being relatively lighthearted to being pretty creepy towards the end. So this is another one that you can read really quickly in like a day, and in just a couple hours, maybe, if that, just depends. I mean, I take longer because I like to look at all. I like to really take my time with the pictures and everything. But if you don't, just zoom through this, and it's very good. And I bought yesterday, and I've heard lots of good things about. And this is You by Caroline Kepnes. This is about this guy who works in a bookstore, I believe, and he becomes obsessed with this woman, and it's from his perspective. So, and it's written in second person narrative, so he says like you this and you that, and so you feel like he's talking to you personally, which that sounds incredibly creepy, especially, you know, being that it is a serial, like a stalker. It's a stalker that's saying these things to you. So in the back it just says, you're going to be so sorry when you realize what you made me do. The good news is I have no regrets. No thanks, that's a big old nope. But I enjoy being creeped out, so I'm excited to see how this one goes about doing that. What I hope is that it's not like weirdly romanticized, because stalking is never okay. So let's not do that. But I've heard really good things about it from people that I trust, so I don't think it will be. And I mean, I don't think I'll have time to get to it in October because I just have so many books that I have to read. But I wish I had, because it sounds really good and really intriguing and interesting. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. And I know that my list is by no means complete and comprehensive. So yeah, let me know what your favorite Halloween reads are. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought about them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great October and a happy Halloween. Bye.